Shock horror, Harry and Meghan have a major drug problem. I'll give you the dope on that later. But first, as you know, the preposterous prince and social mountaineer Meg, a former game show glamour girl, are the self-styled royal family of America. Not so long ago, the idea that the world's greatest independent republic nation would wantonly waste taxpayers' money to do the bidding of a privileged foreign aristocrat would be laughed out of court. But seriously, Joe Biden's extremely expensive legal experts are fighting tooth and nail to protect Harry from the scrutiny and transparency that, in the land of the free, he should be scrupulously subjected to. Why do Biden and his forelock-touching Democrat lackeys care so much about keeping the Ginger Winger's visa application secret? If, as he filled out the form to seek the right to reside in the United States, the Duke of Netflix lied about the extensive drug use of which he boasted in his spiteful little book Spare, then the public should know, and he has to go. If he admitted to his consumption of cannabis, cocaine and magic mushrooms, why was this pompous man-child allowed to stay in the first place? Now, as the Washington-based think tank, the Heritage Foundation, fights for the truth, Sleepy Joe's lawyers have stepped up their inexplicable campaign to protect a less-than-brilliant prince who hails from a colonialist country that brave Americans fought an independence war to be free of. In their desperation, they've resorted to some old tosh about the stigma for Harry of being associated with what are classified as law enforcement documents. So bloody what? Have you ever heard anything more bowing and scraping than worrying about how the regal Duke of Sussex might react to learning that under the egalitarian eyes of US justice, he is no different from anyone else? I mean, who cares? And why are Biden's briefs so obsessed with abandoning the sacred principle of all men being equal? Why are they determined to treat this visiting British royal, who hates America's finest amendment, the first, which enshrines free speech, as a special VIP case? This is the sort of degrading deference that props up the pernicious British class system. But is this be me so ever humble backside crawling the American way? I don't think so. Meanwhile, onto the dismal duo's drug problem that I mentioned earlier. Although, of course, I would never dismiss the gruesome twosome as a couple of dopes, they've got an escalating dope crisis on their hands. The massive Montecito mansion Harry shares with Princess Meghan and their kids has been consumed by a jaw-dropping skunk-like stench emanating from the nearby cannabis farms, amid cutting-edge California's liberal drug laws, all perfectly legal. But wealthy neighbours of the dismal duo are considering the installation of at least 10 £17,000 air scrubber machines to restore the exclusive area's perfume-like flora aroma. Whether or not Harry and Meghan will contribute to the costs is not known. But with all that grass so close by, for the keen joint-smoking prince, will it be a case of deal or no deal? Is hippie Harry planning a few shopping trips? You decide. Yeah, he probably will, won't he, Simon? It's pretty handy, have all that grass. He loves a joint. There goes my American flag.
How dare you desecrate
I've got the flag.
The stars and stripes.
And seriously, we'll talk about the dope problem in a minute, which is kind of funny. But to go back to this visa problem, don't you think it's strange how far the lengths to which Biden's government lawyers are going to protect this visiting aristocrat from another country? Why are they doing this? This is American taxpayers' money. If he lied on his form, kick him out. If he didn't, I guess he can stay. But maybe even not then, because if he said he did take drugs, maybe he can't stay. But why are the Democrats, the party of the people, protecting this foreign aristocrat? I don't get it.
I think it's perfectly fine, you know?
Yeah, because you know your place.
Yeah, I know my place. No, Listen, what young person hasn't experimented with a bit of weed?
That's not the point. It's American law. If you lie on your visa application form, you're out. And if you say on your visa application form you took drugs, you have taken drugs, you're not allowed in. So either way, if he said that, why is he being allowed to stay? Why is he getting special VIP treatment in the land where all men are equal under the law? Or if he didn't say it, he lied, he should be kicked out.
He shouldn't be kicked out.
Why?
OK, he should not be kicked out. First and foremost, dabbling with a little bit of weed and some magic mushrooms.
Doesn't matter.
And then writing about it in his book.
It actually wasn't that. He said he has extensive drug use problems.
Didn't you read his book?
Yeah, it wasn't.
I did read his book.
Yeah,
what a great read.
It wasn't just
It was a
dabbling.
good read. I agree with you.
Just talking about taxpayers' money, he was at Courtney Cox's mansion doing magic mushrooms while we, the British taxpayers, were paying for it.
Yeah.
That's what we're actually talking
Australian.
about here. Yeah, Australians too. We give money to the royal family.
It's
it's
a global problem.
Yeah, but I pay tax in this country. That money was going into his drug-fueled haze in California, even before.
But it isn't, Simon, it isn't about that. They have sacred laws about drug use. If you admit to drug use before you want to live in America, you won't be allowed to live in America. If you lie and you pretend you didn't take drugs, but you did, and they find out, then you have to be kicked out. But that visa application form is very safe.
The rules have been bent all the time throughout history.
Let's see.
The Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones have been allowed to tour America extensively.
But they never admitted to taking drugs in print form on a book that was published.
OK. Yeah. Well, I don't think you've read their autobiographies.
Actually, the Rolling Stones have got drug convictions.
Yeah, completely.
And Paul McCartney as well.
Paul McCartney is
all of these people are allowed. They're allowed to go
yes.
On special visas to perform because they're people of special abilities. Now, Harry has no special abilities.
He's more special
Far
needs.
from it. I was avoiding that. But
I would debate that. I do not think he's special needs. I would say that what Harry has done for...
by the way, everybody, I am not saying Harry has special needs.
I take it back.
But I don't think he has any talent whatsoever.
Let's just say talent.
In fact, he's a bit thick.
I would debate that, and I would say that...
What do you think he is, clever?
I would say that Harry and Meghan have enriched the lives of Americans.
But with their pots of jam and their 17,000
They do a lot of great charity work for people who are underprivileged, and they raise issues.
Name one charity initiative, Simon.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah,
I think they've done quite a lot for mental...
What?
They've done quite a lot for mental health charities.
Be more specific.
Mental health charities.
Be more specific. Name one.
I'm not going to name one.
No, you don't know. You don't
because they have
You're just making this up.
They have an umbrella organisation, Archwell, under which they give
money. Recently closed down.
It's not been closed down. It's just been censored.
It was for a while by the Californian Attorney General because those idiots can't even keep their books straight.
They have a charity, Archwell, which is an umbrella organisation which gives money to a lot of different charities.
Have you seen our donations? Donations to Archwell are plummeting. Before we go, what your thoughts on this visa issue, Samara? I mean, it's true. He's either way, he's broken visa rules. He's either lied on his form or he has put on his form that he's taken drugs. Either way, he shouldn't be allowed to live in America. I wouldn't be allowed to. You wouldn't be allowed to. Simon wouldn't be allowed to. Why is this Prince allowed to?
Yeah, the facts are completely there, and it's this selective outrage that's ridiculous. We're going to talk a little later in the show about, convicting people. I'm sure I'd love to see what you think about bending the rules then. Biden's government...
We're going to find out. Don't worry about that.
Biden's government is really going after the wrong people. He should be thrown out of the country tomorrow, and the facts are right there. We don't even need a trial.
It is a great reason to vote for Donald Trump, all of our American viewers, even if you don't like Donald Trump. Vote for him, because then we will have the hilarious spectacle of Donald kicking Prince Harry out of America.
Himself he'll do
I can't wait. That's worth voting him into the Oval Office for
it's ridiculous.
alone.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's not.
You're making out...
because he's a member of the royal family. If you said that you'd taken drugs, you wouldn't be allowed into the country. Why is he allowed in?
You were making out that Prince Harry...
Why do you approve of this special treatment for an aristocrat?
I'm trying to answer, and I'm saying that not all crimes are equal. I do not believe that Prince Harry is a drug dealer, is a drug abuser.
No one said he was a drug dealer.
Completely.
Stop changing. Hang on.
Let me finish.
No.
I'm making my point.
You said drug dealer. Drug user is what we're talking about. No
Okay.
one ever said he's a drug dealer.
He has used-
Stop upping the ante.
No, but
Deal with the
I am dealing with the facts, and I am saying that his recreational use of drugs
is illegal.
does not tip into the realm of dealing drugs or using them now and abusing
But it's
them now.
illegal, though, isn't it?
It's a teenage adolescent.
It's illegal.
Yes.
He still takes
It's a
them.
teenage adolescent misdemeanor.
He still takes them.
And it would be ridiculous.
It wasn't
to
just when he
kick-
was a teenager.
It would be ridiculous to kick him out of the country based on his
Cocaine and magic
based on his
mushrooms are a
former drug
teenage-
use. I think it would be ridiculous.
Why? Why? Because you look up to him and he's
Not because I look
he's at the top of the social ladder.
Not because I look up to him. It's because I see Keith Richards doing multiple tours,
Okay.
and his blood had to be changed with the blood of young virgins because it had so many
Yeah,
drugs
but he's a
in it.
person of special talent.
So is Harry. So is
No, no,
Meghan.
no, special
She's
talent.
an actress, and
Harry is a person of special talent.
He enriches-
Fucking guy can't even stand up straight. He spends all his time trying to work out which foot to put forward first, the right or the left.
These are just baseless. These are just baseless insults.
By the way, Samara, let's talk about Harry's charity work. What exactly has he ever done ever?
Yeah, I would love to know. I think the recent thing that I saw
Invictus.
That's not charity.
which he made into
That's
a
not
royal
charity.
family thing where he decided to go after his poor dad who's fighting with cancer. So that's what took away from his Invictus Games whole thing. But, I mean, what is he doing? The last thing I saw was Meghan in some sort of camper van making coffees for people out of hemp in California. I'd love to know what charity work they claim that they do.
I believe that was the from the coffee firm she invested in.
Yes,
So she's
so,
making money on that
How
one.
dare she invest in a startup?
Yeah, well, it's a bit rum, isn't it, to
Coffee, I think.
make an advert, or to make a film saying, "Oh, this is lovely coffee," and then, but invest in my charity.
But people do
And
that
she's
all the time.
making money out of
People
it.
do
Yeah,
that all
exactly.
the time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
two always look for the worst in that couple, which you find very easily.
There is only the worst to pick from. I don't know what else to say to
everything
you,
they
Simon.
do, everything they do, you spin it to make it seem as though it's some sort of massive crime. Where
It is a
most-
crime.
At most, it's a misdemeanor.
It's a black. No, it's a crime. It's against the law to take drugs in America, and as it is here, it's not a misdemeanor. It's a crime. Get that right. Very good contribution to that discussion, Samara. Simon, load of shit. We're going to go to a bad ad now.
Ladies, be a winner this spring with an outfit from the Echuca Bargain Centre. Echuca Bargain Centre brings you fashion at a budget price. Great styles for day or evening wear, casual and colourful. You'll look great and your budget will feel good. Be first past the post in one of the many styles now available at Echuca Bargain Centre, the store where the fashion conscious are winners. You'll love Echuca Bargain Centre's variety of fashions, all at budget prices.
They didn't look very fashionable, those people, did they?
No.
Some of the hair was pretty bad.
I love the way that they were hiding behind a tree and then they all suddenly stepped out in their clothes. As though,
Do you think Australians are the worst dressed people on the face of the
Yeah,
planet?
easily. I mean, you'll be genuinely. If you can walk into a supermarket, people won't be wearing clothes.
Yeah.
People won't be wearing pants.
Yeah.
No
I mean-
shoes. It's not a necessity.
Yeah, I mean, sort of Melbourne doesn't go hand in hand with Milan when you talk about style,
They're
does
sister
it?
cities, actually, technically, but no.
Anyway, on that sartorial bombshell, it is time to go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan, of course, you already knew that. Simon London's still here, worse luck, and Samara Gill is still with us. Now, you come to us on a momentous day, really, because just last night, before we started to film this edition of What Just Happened, you always have to say that, What Just Happened? I don't know why. No one knows why, but we do. It's so ridiculous. What just happened? But what did just happen in New York was this sensational verdict at the Trump hush money trial. Found guilty on 34 counts of cooking the books, basically. It's business accounting fraud, in which he's alleged to have hidden this payment to Stormy Daniels, Pawnee Daniels, of $130,000 to cover up their alleged night of passion in a hotel in Lake Tahoe in Nevada. He denies it ever happened, but you can make up your own minds about that. But we all know the dynamic of this trial. We've discussed it beforehand. And that is that Donald Trump says it's rigged. It's been set up by the Democrats, a Democrat prosecutor, Alvin Bragg, a clearly Democrat judge, Juan Merchan, 8 avowed Democrats on the jury. They found him guilty of all 34 counts. Samara, that, in my view, that trial was a disgrace. It shamed American justice. It was definitely a stroke of Democrat lawfare, a tactic by Joe Biden and his mob to undermine Trump. But trouble is, it might now work. I mean, what your thoughts on that verdict last night?
I mean, the way that everyone's reacting to this is as if Trump's been, pinned for murder and been found guilty. It was cooking the books. That is what it was. And it was after 4 years of the Democrats scraping to see if they could find anything on him. And this is what they've come up with. It's kind of ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, the verdict, sure, it's going to get, absolutely appealed and,
Yeah, trouble with that, though, is the appeal will be heard too late for the election. So this verdict, Donald Trump is now officially a convicted felon.
It doesn't stop him from running.
No, it doesn't stop him running, but that will stand until the election. Then there will be an appeal, which a lot of legal experts say he will win, but it doesn't really matter. The choice now for Americans is, do they vote for, or for Trump supporters, for Republicans, do they vote for a convicted criminal, which sadly, technically is what he is now. So
yeah, sure, for financial fraud, okay. I mean, Simon...
Okay, well...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, Simon, maybe it's just one of those little misdemeanours
maybe it was just
that you're
like
so keen to forgive.
Oh, I
Harry.
seem to remember that you
Well,
two...
hang on a second. Hang on. You
football.
want to forgive Harry for his law breaking and say that's just a misdemeanour. Are you going to forgive Trump?
I believe it's the other way round. You guys want to forgive Trump for his law breaking, but under the... Well, firstly, how great that President Trump finally won a popular vote. I'm so glad about that. And I hope all the MAGA morons suck it up and know
Why are
that
they
How long are you saving
why
that
are
line
they
for,
morons?
Simon?
Nobody...
Why are the MAGA
Because
people
they are
morons?
in a cult.
No,
they are
they're
in a
not.
cult. The cult of personality of Trump
It is this
so
mentality that's
insidious.
gonna
Wait a
get
second.
Trump
Wait a
elected
second.
again.
Wait a second. You mean half of America?
Yes.
You think half of America
Yes.
are morons trapped in a cult?
Yes.
MAGA, make
Yes.
American great
I think
again.
MAGA
What do you
morons-
think
I don't
is
think
wrong?
Republicans-
What exactly do you think is wrong with the
don't think-
slogan,
I don't
make
think-
America great again?
I do not think the Republicans are morons. I think that MAGA morons who cannot...
They're not morons.
Who cannot divorce themselves from this man who is a lawbreaker, who is a terrible, terrible person, and has finally been caught, judged by his peers...
In your view?
Judged by
In
his
your
peers.
opinion?
He's a convicted
No.
criminal.
In
Finally.
He's not convicted of being a terrible person.
In your opinion,
In
he's
my
a bad
opinion,
person.
listen, I know that opinions aren't facts,
Yeah, particularly yours.
But the fact of the matter is, he has been found guilty on not just one, 34 accounts. And you can say it's political, but if you enter the arena as a politician, everything is political. We saw what happened with Clinton and how he was impeached. We saw what happened with Nixon and how he was brought down. Trump is a politician, and it's always going to be political.
Who did way worse things than what Trump has just been found guilty for.
Trump has also got, coming down the line, he's also got the documents, he's also got the insurrection, he's also got the RICO charges in Georgia. This man This man is a mob boss, and he's a criminal, and he's a sex pest, and he should not be allowed anywhere near the White House or running for government.
Why do you say he's a sex pest?
Because...
Has he been convicted of anything?
No, I'm not falling into your convicted trap again.
Well,
he has
Seriously,
been
why do you say
found
that?
guilty in a civil trial
That's
of
not
defaming...
Hang
Let
on.
me finish.
No, I'm not
you never
letting you finish. You're a journalist. You do not get
I knew
found
you'd do this.
guilty.
I knew
you
you'd
do not.
do this.
No, yeah, but this has been bullshit.
So I found it.
It's a ruling. It's not a verdict.
We are now allowed to say a federal judge has gone to great lengths to make it clear that Trump really did rape E. Jean Carroll, and we can say that without any offence whatsoever.
That's not a court of law's verdict.
I'm not saying he's...
Well, he's not guilty of it then, is he?
Trial
He is
by
guilty.
public
sake, mate.
He's guilty of defaming
Yes.
Eugene Carroll.
No. It is ruled that he has defamed her. That is not the same as being found guilty in a criminal
Listen,
court.
we can do all the
You know that.
We can do all the semantics.
Bullshitting.
We can do all the semantics we want. Your spiritual God has been brought down, and I am here for it. Yeah. Cry harder, MAGA morons.
He's going to get voted back in, though, isn't he, Samara?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
and
he
it's
won't.
people like you, Simon, that will make sure that that's the case because they will buckle down. Trump supporters think that the system is broken, nothing is working in America, and that everything has gone to shit. And that is what's happened.
You're basically saying...
And this court... And
You're
this court
basically-
case
Wait a
proves
second,
it.
wait
This
a
court
second,
case
wait a
proves
second,
it.
wait a second. I'm going to introduce... this will be an alien concept to you, Simon. I'm going to introduce a fact into this discussion.
Whoa, let's do
the
it.
fact is this, that as soon as that verdict came through, guilty on all 34 counts, the money, the donations started avalanching into Trump's campaign. Millions and millions and millions of dollars came pouring in from Americans who just said, this is a rigged, trumped-up trial, if I can use that phrase, and we are going to support Donald. It could easily rebound on the Democrats because with Donald Trump, every time, every day, in every way, you are in new territory, uncharted territory.
what does it-
This guy
Yes.
could do it.
But what does it
Hang
mean?
on a second. I'm talking to Samara. I know you want to sort of sexistly block her out of all the
Sorry,
conversation.
Samara.
Yeah, you were
Please
saying-
go ahead.
Shut up.
No, you're right. The Trump donations have been rolling in. The MAGA base will buckle down. This affirms everything that they already think. You know, I agree with, he's guilty for cooking the books. Yes.
Well, he's being found guilty.
Yeah, he's been found guilty. Sure, he's been found guilty.
I
but-
have problems with that trial.
But the MAGA base
Of course
doesn't
you
care.
do. Of course.
The MAGA base cares about putting food on the table, the future of America. They're not caring about what he did several years ago.
Yeah.
It's not the main concern, and people need to get that out of their head. You talk about, his character.
Let me tell you something, right? About 3 months ago, we discussed this before, there was a poll of Americans with a view to this trial. It was when it first emerged, he would definitely sit down and face these charges in New York. So there was a poll of Americans, Republican supporters. What will you do if he's found guilty? About 33%, a third of them said, I'm afraid I couldn't vote for a convicted felon. These are decent people who respect the law. They're decent people who respect the law.
Some of them Republicans.
Even though this was a bad example of American law, but I respect their position. Now, a poll only last week revealed 16%, so it's gone down by more than a half, will not be able to vote.
But
it's falling,
But Kevin-
and I think now that the axe has fallen in terms of this verdict, I think more and more Americans will say that trial was a disgrace to the United States. We're voting for the victim of it, Donald Trump.
I would be upset if he gets to the White House again. But what I'm not upset about is that he is judged under the law that everybody else is judged, and he is found guilty. We can't just say that person made lots of Oscar-winning films, so let's not put Harvey...
how do you think...
Wait there, let me finish. So let's not put Harvey Weinstein
What about
in prison.
Prince Harry, then?
That person over there beat their wife.
What about your line on Prince
But they
Harry?
like their Oscars, so we're not putting them in
What
prison.
about your line on Prince Harry?
Listen, my line on Prince Harry is I do not believe...
Well, when you say line, you mean a line of cocaine? That's what he likes.
My idea about Prince Harry is that I do not believe if he was to go to a court of law that they would find him guilty of this. Trump has been found guilty.
How could they not?
There are more
Trump
facts
has-
in
how can
Harry's
they not?
case.
He's admitted it.
Can I just stick to one line of argument, please?
Stop saying line.
Trump has got to... He's got... Listen, if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. And the thing with Trump is it's all about the cover-up. It's never the crime with Trump. It's the cover-up and the lengths he goes to cover stuff up. People went to prison for Trump. People went to prison like Michael Cohen. And it's about time that Trump was found responsible. There is a saying that I love, and that is, the dildo of consequence rarely arrives lubed. And Trump has found that out.
What sort of
go.
phrase is that?
What type of left-wing
That's
is
your
that?
favourite phrase.
That's some sort
What
of
a
sex
disgusting
positive.
person you are. But listen, I say go Donald. Donald for the White House, really, seriously. Because he does, you're right, as you were saying, he understands the problems. Under Biden, America's fallen apart at the seams. He is responsible for a humanitarian crisis on the southern border. You know, millions of migrants turning up there, people dying, kids dying. It's a disaster.
And Trump took time
fucking
to say that.
Biden's trying to build a wall now.
Listen, I'm not saying that all of Trump's policies are bad. What I'm saying is that Trump is a mob boss. He's a gangster. He's an insurrectionist.
Well, a bit like Hunter Biden.
And he cooked the books.
Okay.
And for all those things, you have to face justice. He has been judged.
Listen.
He has been judged by his
peers. Can I tell you something?
And he has been found
can I
guilty.
tell you something?
And that is America.
Bidens
and
are...
well done.
Oi,
Where's the camera?
oi, enough.
Well done, America.
That's enough.
Well done
That's enough.
Shut
up.
Well done, America.
Shut up.
Well done, America.
Just off. The Bidens are a crime family, particularly Hunter.
Yeah, very
Joe's
much
son.
so. You want to talk about
You want to talk about
lines?
crookedness?
No, I want to talk about
No,
Trump.
no, let Samara say something, will you?
No, seriously. We'll talk
Droning
about
on
cooking
there
the books.
with your left-wing shite.
Do you want to talk about the rounding error when it came to aid that was going into Ukraine? Do you want to talk about cooking the books
I want
there?
to talk
The
about
Biden
Trump.
family are the kings of cooking the books. But no, they're not held to any of the same accounts. You just listed off the Clintons. They have also done a lot of shady stuff, but they haven't had people combing through their records. It sets a very dangerous precedent what's happened with Trump, because now, the Republicans could go after the Democrats just like that, and I'm sure they wouldn't take 4 years to find anything to
That is politics. That is politics. And if you'd found stuff about Carter, if you'd found stuff about Obama, if you'd found
the
stuff...
worst thing they could find was about some hush money.
If you'd found stuff about the Bushes, that would have all come out. When you sit down and read these depositions, Trump is a terrible person for America.
A terrible person.
He is a terrible person. He's a criminal.
Anyway, shut up, will you?
Arguing with you two is
Enough!
like nailing jelly to the wall.
Up! Shut up! He's really bad this week, isn't he? What we're going to have a look at now, in the light of everything we've been discussing, is since this verdict last night, good old Donald, you can always rely on him, has released his new campaign video. Take it away, Mr. Trump.
This case is an abomination. It's obviously political. 7 years to try to come up with this case. They're just wrong on the law.
The only crime that Donald Trump is being prosecuted for is the crime of running for president.
Political persecution at the highest level.
They've quite frankly given up on trying to beat him at the polls. Either going to steal it or stop it by law firm.
A Democrat prosecutor elected on a Get Trump platform.
What's going on here is a disgusting disgrace. It is war on Trump, it is war on the Republican Party, and it is a war on the Republic.
This case is the weakest case I've seen in 60 years of teaching, practicing, and writing about criminal law.
And I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
This judge, you don't need a prosecutor if you have a judge like this. This judge is not on the level.
It's a terrible case, but the judge has been pretty much a rubber stamp on everything that Bragg has wanted to do.
They're perverting the system of justice. That's where the danger lies. The corruption and subversion of our institutions by the left.
This is the Democrats' entire strategy, to confine President Trump to a dirty criminal courtroom and keep him off the campaign trail where he can bring his winning message to voters across this country.
New York has become a legal banana republic. They are so determined to get Donald Trump.
Look, convicting Donald Trump, that's all they have.
I think they have no cards, and they're depending upon Trump getting convicted.
That Trump train doesn't show any signs of slowing down.
The only verdict that matters is the verdict at the ballot box.
Exactly, Samara. I think he's going to take this. At the moment, all the pollsters, never listen to pollsters. They never know what they're talking about. They always get it wrong. But at the moment, the pollsters say, this is it. This has tipped the balance in the favour of Biden. It was on a knife edge, but Biden will win now. I think he's going to turn it round. I think in his inimitable fashion, he's going to take this legal disaster for him and turn it into a triumph, because Donald Trump always is in uncharted territory. He'll do it.
Absolutely. This case represents everything that the whole of America, not just the New York elites and the LA elites, stand for. It really talks about the elites coming after him in New York, the country that is, they want change, and Trump is representing that. And that's not what this case exemplifies, the witch hunt that is after him, after someone who wants to forge change for the country.
Yeah, listen, if he wins democratically, good luck to him, but he will still have to walk round being the man he is, which is a convicted felon and all that other stuff that
I mean, you know,
him.
frankly, if he wins, so what? It doesn't matter, does it? I mean, it's not like his career is going to be affected by this conviction. But, you know, when I was in the States, I mean, I've been to about every state apart from about 6. And there are 2 countries in America. There are the big cities and there's the rest of it. And I think these pollsters do not understand. You go to the Midwest, you go to the Deep South, you go to the North, Montana, places like that, you get a very different picture. And those people, the blue-collar people of America, support Trump. It is time now for another bad ad.
From film to photos in just 1 hour. That's right, at Keogh's Camera House, you can have your film professionally processed. And you can have your photos back in just 1 hour. With Keogh's new Colour Lab, you're guaranteed the best in colour printing every time. And the friendly team are always willing to help with useful camera tips. So drop your film in before work or at lunchtime, and in just 1 hour, you'll be looking through quality colour photos. Keogh's Camera House, Abbott Arcade, Bendigo. The friendly team.
See, that's another Australian ad, of course. Earlier we played one that was obviously from the 1980s. This one, apparently, they only made it last week. So
yeah, I heard that.
It's a new ad. But, so you still develop films down under, do you?
Yeah, as I said, 20 years behind.
Do you have cars in Australia?
We brought in the first
Electricity,
one.
anything like that?
I heard you actually called them magical chariots with invisible horses.
Okay, Simon, you win that one. Bloody hell.
Well, we're going to go to a real break right now. So back in a minute. Stay tuned to What Just Happened. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. I'm still with Simon London. Boo! And I'm still with Samara Gill. Hooray! But first, a few of my thoughts on weight loss drugs. Are you, to borrow the latest ludicrous euphemism, living with overweight? Are you suffering from the illness of obesity? If so, a couple of pointers for you. 1, you're fat. And 2, you're not ill, you just eat too much and don't take enough exercise. And please don't reel out that arrant claptrap about being addicted to food. We all are. Without it, we tend to die. But hey-ho, no need anymore to summon up that willpower you lack to go on a diet. Just reach for Wegovy or Ozempic and watch your waistline magically shrink. More and more Brits and Americans are turning to the modern miracle of medication. And it works! Until you stop pumping yourself full of drugs and start piling on the pounds again. At least then you'll be free of the side effects that users can suffer. In fairness, many people report no downsides at all so far. But dizziness, nausea, diarrhea, fatigue and blurred vision are just some of the afflictions you might have to put up with if you head along the chemical road to slim nirvana. Other fat jabbers talk of losing their sex drive and a debilitating inability to hold their drink, not forgetting an increased risk of cancer. None of this is to say that I don't understand why fat folk turn to drugs to fight the flab, nor am I devoid of sympathy for those who find it so difficult to shed their timber. I'm one of the lucky ones who can still fit into clothes I bought 30 years ago. In fact, I look great in my purple and yellow loon pants. But for the millions whose metabolisms cause them to balloon the older they become, I feel sorry for them and I get it. They're desperate. That said, I'm convinced we have to recalibrate our approach to the escalating crisis of obesity, or as I like to call it, fatness. First of all, why the hell does the British National Health Service protect the tubby community from the truth with diversionary nonsense like living with overweight, which isn't even grammatical? Speak proper English, for Christ's sake. Why do doctors pretend that stuffing your face until you're the size of a caravan is an illness? It's not an illness, it's greed. Why do doctors insist that calling fat people fat is wrong? They are fat. How can it be wrong to say so? It's true. Yeah, it's kind of offensive, but surely fat shaming is a good idea because it will shame gluttons into eating less. And inventing soppy garbage about so-called food addiction is just ridiculous. But now it's all about drugs, mass medication for the nation. In Britain, they're doling out Ozempic on such an epic scale, there are genuine fears the cost could bankrupt the NHS. I don't know, maybe weight loss drugs are the wonder the world has been waiting for, but are they? If, like vast swathes of the plump populations on both sides of the Atlantic, you get offered the quick fix remedy to your roly-poly nightmare, should you just say no? I think you should, Samara. I really do. I'm getting worried about this, that drugs are the solution to everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Ozempic and over in America, usually they call it Wegovy, slightly different products. But, you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And I just worry that this mass medication of people, you know, the magical solution to the obesity crisis, you know, may be heading down the wrong road.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a drug if you're unhappy. We've got a drug if you're feeling not tired. And now we've got a drug if you're fat that you can jab into you and everything will be solved. And that is not the reality of the situation, especially with things like being obese. It is always a deeper issue. It's not just about, you know, the fact that you can't stop eating.
The deeper issue is you can't stop stuffing your face.
Yeah, but...
It's as simple as that. Eat less, do a bit more exercise, you'll lose some weight.
But the jab isn't going to
amazing.
help that. As soon as you stop the jab, you're always going to pile it back on. We've had numerous accounts I've seen online of people that had taken the jab, lost it all, then gained it back because they haven't actually addressed the issue that, maybe they're lazy, maybe they don't actually know why they're gaining the weight in the first place.
Yeah, she's got a point, hasn't she, Simon?
She has a point.
We don't have to argue about this one.
No, we don't have to argue about this one.
I mean, to get back to the general point, I mean, you know, I can't formulate exactly what it is that I'm thinking, but I just viscerally sense that giving millions of people a drug they can jab into themselves to get thin or slimmer, it might not be the right thing. It just seems a bit wrong to me.
OK, look, there's no point arguing for the sake of arguing. I'm not going to say, listen, no, I'm telling myself that. I'm not going to say just take an opposing view for the point of it.
Exactly.
However, I will say that sometimes a quick fix solution can be a shortcut to making stuff better in the long run. So if people are feeling better about themselves and going out and doing more stuff, maybe that leads to them wanting to suddenly do exercise, wanting to keep that weight off. And should we kind of be tarring everybody with that same brush and fat shaming? Some people do have medical conditions. You have been, I've known you nearly 30 years. You've been slim all that time. That's got to be something to do with your enzymes or something to do...
You've either got it or you haven't.
You know, but somebody else may have kind of what we call in our family pulled the ripcord and suddenly they've gone like this, and we don't know why that is. So I think that once again. You're so binary, it's kind of, you know...
I'm literally not trying to be binary, and I accept what you say. The problem with Ozempic, and indeed Wegovy, but especially with Ozempic, is you will get good results, you'll lose weight, but it's not just, if you come off Ozempic, it's not just at that point, oh, I look good, I can have the willpower not to eat now. Because you've stopped taking Ozempic alone, it will mean you're put on weight, no matter what you do. So there's a problem there.
Yes, it's the drug companies getting a noose over your neck and tightening it and tightening it.
I mean, it is worth, you know, I don't want to have a go at Big Pharma. Let's have a go at Big Pharma, shall we? No, seriously, the company that makes Ozempic, I think it's based in Denmark or something, Scandinavia, is the richest, most wealthy country on the face of the planet. And that is food for thought, if I can put it that way, is it not?
Obviously, Big Pharma does have a motivation in to keep us taking certain drugs, to keep us sort of having certain jabs and things like that. But I do say again that if you're solving one problem quickly...
Because I started saying,
Simon,
you've got better mental
it's actually
health.
this culture of taking shortcuts to get everywhere in life that our society is very quickly stepping onto. As I said, with depression, with sleeping pills, with weight loss drugs now, it is a culture of take a pill, it'll solve all your issues. It's like fixing a bullet hole with a Band-Aid, basically.
Yeah, but we're doing that across all culture. We have AI now, which helps us write stuff. We have apps that help us do things quicker, and this is the way that the world is moving.
Point taken, but this convenience world we now live in. Oh, you don't have to have any willpower to go on a diet. Take this pill, jab this into yourself. That's what worries me. As I say, you know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but mass medication of people worries me. I don't know if you've ever read Aldous Huxley's book Brave New World.
I have,
where
yes.
the population get mass medicated. They're given a drug called Soma to make them happy. You know, how long before we move on from the drugs that make you thin magically to the drugs that make you happy? Mass medication just feels to me to be wrong.
But do we take the pressure off society, and do we take the pressure off people by giving them better mental health? If you're incredibly unhappy about the size you are, and actually taking a drug can make you happier, is the trickle-down effect something that's going to be positive?
I tried to say, of course I understand why people take it, and it does have good effects, but, you know, Ozempic, for example, you know, it's actually technically a diabetes drug.
Yes.
So diabetes sufferers take it forever. But if you're just on a diet, you're not supposed to take it forever. In fact, you're supposed to stop after a couple of months. And I know lots of people aren't, because once they stop, then they start piling on the pounds again, and so they start taking it again, and so they're sort of taking it wrongly. This is worrying. I mean, I'll look forward to we'll talk about some of your comments from last week later, as we always do, but I'll look forward to seeing what you all think about fat drugs, or weight loss drugs as they call them. Are they a good idea? But in the meantime, it is time for another bad ad.
Hi, I'm Basil Broadloom, the man from Ballarat Carpet Warehouse.
Get down to Ballarat Carpet Warehouse and see Basil Broadloom for these specials. High-low nylon, $39 per metre. Purvis, 80% wool, 20% nylon, only $45 per metre. Armstrong vinyl from $6.50 per metre.
Remember, at the Ballarat Carpet Warehouse, you'll get the red carpet treatment. So see me, Basil Broadloom, the carpet man. I've got prices that'll floor you.
We're all adverts in Australia like that.
I know. Actually, yeah. I mean,
Where's the music? I didn't realise.
The producer is pulling some ads from rural country towns right now. Ballarat.
Are there any other type of towns in Australia?
Well, Ballarat's not somewhere you want to go, and definitely not somewhere you want to go to buy a carpet, I'll tell you that much.
The thing about Australia is it looks a bit like Slough, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can
But those carpets at the carpet warehouse there in somewhere...
Ballarat.
In the outback. They look like sacks, just like sacks hanging down. Anyway, enough of carpet warehouse in the outback of Australia. Let's go to a real ad. What just happened? People are watching this show all over the world. Big audience in America, big audience here and elsewhere, so we really do appreciate it. And one of the great things is that we get this thousands of comments. More than 3,000 people commented on last week's show, and both Simon and Samara have got some of them, and they're going to read them out right now. Shall we go ladies first?
Yeah,
Off you go then, Simon.
Lauren said something very insightful. Simon London is delusional.
Yeah, true.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll be back next week for another... Is that it? Who's that from? Who's that from?
Lauren.
Lauren?
God bless her.
On the money, Lauren. Absolutely, he is delusional. Now... In your delusionary state.
This woman has the best name ever. Nettie Wolverine Thunderbird.
I like Nettie, yeah.
Of probably the Dallas Thunderbirds. I know them well. I can't stand being yelled at by the commentator. It's harrowing. He's spitting mad about nothing. He must be horrible to live with. Imagine if the dishes were not done. I bet he freaks you for hours.
I think that refers to me. I think it is horrible to live with me. My wife tells me like about every 10 minutes. So, yeah, that is already confirmed. I am horrible to live with. And I'm usually very angry. Sorry if I irritate you, but I don't care! You next, Samara.
So the fella says, Kev, you need to get a new spectacle prescription as you're struggling to read the auto cue. That never happened.
I'm not struggling to read it. Yeah.
Delusional comment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This one's short and sweet from Fiona Saunders. She says, please ask your lady commentator to stop shouting. Yes, Fiona, please.
I'll tell you one thing.
Then you get Simon away from me then.
Yeah, you've got the knack of, Simon. I'll give you this, that this is the one thing I'll grant you, that you manage to say things without shouting. When you get angry, you don't shout. Yeah. I mean, even when I'm not angry, I shout. And Samara's no slouch either. Who's next?
So Sandra has said, what a nasty man Simon seems to be. Quite ignorant.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
he went
it's true,
there.
though,
Went for
isn't
the
it?
jugular.
I think, actually, what was her name again?
That's from Sandra.
Sandra, yeah, nasty and ignorant. Yeah, I think that kind of encompasses all that we feel about.
I thought.
So, you nasty and ignorant man, what have you got lined up?
Well, I thought that Mafanwi Morris was going to be on my side because she says Simon is better to look at than JJ, but just as one-sided to everything that is wrong. Yeah. I think that's a backhanded
Who's that from?
That's from Mafanwi Morris.
Mafanwi Morris, lovely name, and I like that. I mean, if I was you, I'd just cling on to that. I don't really care what people think about my opinions. If they say I'm better looking than someone else, which is very rare in my case, I just grab it. I grasp it with two hands, you know.
Well, Super Seek had something very interesting to say. OMG, Simon is as dumb as a box of rocks. I'll compare him to the clueless, almost communist lefty Democrats here in the US.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know what? There's a small but very, very intelligent cohort of people who comment who go, I might not agree with Simon, but I always respect his view to say it. Whereas the others just attack me. Like this person about you, Kev, who says...
Nearly dropped your phone.
What just happened?
What just happened?
Mr. Sullivan should let his guests talk instead of cutting them short. Quite rude. Don't invite them when you can't bear to listen to them for more than 3 seconds.
Who wrote that?
That's Regine B.
Regine B. Well, Regine B, that's a very good point. You know, why do I? Well, I like Samara.
We love Kevin's
Can't stand Simon. I don't know why I keep inviting him back. But yeah, you're right. I interrupt them because I don't like them. So not Samara, but Simon. So yeah, but good point. Good point. Do we have any more?
Simon is an improvement. He's better behaved and doesn't insist on calling attention to himself by deliberately laughing 10 decibels above normal hearing range. Sorry, an improvement over JJ. JJ was a very happy person, so I'm pleased to be mentioned in the same breath as him.
Yeah, JJ can't stop laughing. That was what was funny about JJ. He'd try and have a furious row with you, and all you had to do to undermine him was a little quip, even a rubbish joke. He'd just burst into hysterics. JJ, you're not sorely missed. Time now for a bad ad, another one.
Border shopping town. It's all bright and easy. Border shopping town. Shopping's the breeze for all the family. We'll give you service. We'll give you quality. We've got the value and the variety. We know just what you want, and we've made it all so easy. Border shopping town.
What sort of country are you from? What is going on there? As Simon just pointed out, that's not a shopping centre. That's a series of items in a 1970s TV studio.
Yeah, and that's also where you go shopping as well.
Is that to do with border security? Is that border security?
Yeah, as I said, we get things very late to the party, and no, I think that that's a very accurate ad, and I'm sort of getting flashbacks as to why I left.
You said
you have shopping malls.
Yeah, we have malls, but they're
When
not...
did you first get shops? What, about 5 years ago or something?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Before that was just trading.
Yeah, it was like...
bartering on the riverbank.
Bartering for a pair of scissors and blankets. I'm not joking.
You said that your mum watches this, and she was your mum, who should write in actually because she's a fan. Is she still there? Is she still in Ballarat or Borders or wherever?
She's down the shopping mall.
Look, she had to go to an internet cafe
she's down the
to
carpet
access
warehouse,
the show.
getting another sack to put on her house. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Thank you very much to Simon London, I guess, and thank you to Samara Gill for another brilliant edition of What Just Happened. I'll just have to tell you a quick story to finish on. You mentioned earlier about whether or not Harry should be kicked out of the country. You know, if you haven't done a crime, you know, why should you do time and all that? So years ago when I left America, I've been there about 10 years, and me and my wife, or she wasn't my wife then, I made the mistake of marrying her later. That'll get me in
Kevin.
trouble. We had a little dog, Stanley, and we had to bring... She was a girl called Stanley, don't ask. We had to bring her back, quarantine, right? So we took her to the terminal at Los Angeles Airport, LAX, and we had to go to the quarantine place. And we put her in this sort of cage, and she's waiting to be taken to the plane. And this sort of big sort of cargo guy comes up, and he goes, "Where you after then?" And I go, "Well, I've just got to go back to London." He goes, "Oh, quarantine, huh?" I go, "Yeah, quarantine." He goes, "She didn't do the crime, but she's got to do the time." There you go. And on that bombshell, that's the end of this marvellous edition of What Just Happened. We'll be back. Same time, same place next week, right here on Talk. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for your attendance to this show. Thank you to our American audience. Thank you to everyone in Britain. Thank you to everyone all over the world, especially Australians, who we didn't give a very good break to. But we'll be nice to you next week. That's a lie. Bye.
G'day.